Let's do all time. Top posts all time. I did so much acid I almost died. I'm tempted to click this one. Hello, my fellow addicts. I mean viewers. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is going to the notorious R. I'm going to search by most upvoted. We're going to find a trip or story that piques our interest, and then I'm going to basically judge the story. I'm going to tell you guys what they could have done better if they were following safe use protocol. That is what we are going to explain today.
According to YouTube's guidelines shown here, videos which intend to educate are documentary by nature and do not glorify the use of those abide by the community safety guidelines and are eligible for monetization. The following video does not glorify the use of, instead attempts to be non-biased while delivering life-saving information disguised as entertainment.
So let's dive right into this. Here we are. This is a subreddit I do not often visit. Let's find some really interesting stuff, but not of today. The top from this year. Or do we do all time? Ooh, let's do all time. Top posts all time. I did so much acid I almost died. What he could have done better just from the title. Don't take so much acid so you don't almost die. I'm tempted to click this one. All right, fine. Let's do the damn acid one. Fine, I'll click it. So to begin, he's got, in 2014, I did an average 250 micrograms of acid once a week for 10 months. Doses typically ranged from 150 to 600 micrograms, I assume. I never knew for sure how much I actually took. Subjective experiences ranged from slightly glowing colors to complete loss of any sense contact with the physical world around me, and a 10-minute orgasm at one point. That is an impressive feat. I had the ability to, I had savings. I mean, as if acid's not really that expensive. I lived in a house of accepting cam girls. Oh, all right. So this is a cam girl. That makes things a little more interesting. Real life wasn't getting in the way. Yeah, I know nothing about the cam girl life. Please enlighten me. Actually, no, please don't. The first thing people want to know is why. Yeah, why were you a cam girl? I mean, I guess they want to know why you took so much acid. I mean, I'm more curious in the latter. Nobody gets addicted to acid. It's unheard of. It can be a very overwhelming experience, non-communicable, and utterly alien. I concur. Things do get a little alien. I've been surrounded by an entire group of aliens that emerged out of the walls, and it looked like they were preying onto me like I was some kind of an artifact from an ancient era. It was cool. I did it because I felt like I was learning. I can also agree with this, especially if you're also following philosophical content or reading a lot of books. LSD can help you frame some very difficult questions in new ways and see new potential answers. Every time I tripped, I had the overwhelming sensation that the doors had opened and I was mainlining information from a direct source of truth. Yes, people say they feel connected to the Akashic records, and they're just downloading all that information, kind of like what Nikola Tesla said he got all of his info from. Every time I stopped tripping, it felt like those doors closed. Well, that's unfortunate. And I forgot most of what I'd learned. I mean, this is 100% true, especially with stuff like DMT. You could have a DMT breakthrough, feel like you have every answer to all of existence, like every imaginable question, you're the answer, like you actually are the answer, and then you come out of it and you're like, what just happened? Oh, right, I'm a human. But I wanted to remember! Yes, me too. I wanted to remember too. So I kept doing it. Again and again. Higher and higher doses. I needed to know. I produced art. I played music. When we imagine frequent drug use, we imagine it as a form of escapism. That real life is too difficult, that we want to shut down for a time. No, man. Real life is for people who can't take drugs. Is that the saying? I'm not sure. Too many drugs. Real life is too difficult that we want to shut down for a time. Acid was exactly the opposite. It heightened senses, heightened what I was aware of in my own mind. Let me explore the way my own thoughts formed. You can actually sometimes visually see your thoughts. It took what I was and shoved it in my own face. I couldn't look away. Yep, does that with your problems. There were times of deliberately induced and absolutely excruciating emotional pain to which nothing in my regular life has ever come close. I did it on purpose. I needed to know. It is very difficult to talk about the things you learn while tripping because it occurs while in such a deeply altered state that language ceases to apply. It really is more about a way of looking, a very specific type of engaging an experience. Think about the experience defeats the point, because thinking about it is not the same as having it. For example, when you consume LSD, parts of the brain that don't normally communicate with one another start communicating with the visual cortex, and the whole thing lights up like fireworks. You can only remember memories. You can't remember a state of actual physical being. What they do is they change your current chemistry in a way that you can't just remember what that feels like. To remember what it feels like, you'd have to induce those chemical changes. Applying words to the experience is misleading by nature. It is the concept in math where defining a thing gives it an outside and an inside, and thus you can never define the thing that is always outside. And giving it a term, in identifying it with boundaries, it is no longer what you are trying to say. The Tao that can be named is not the Tao. It is the unspoken, the Mu. Majin Buu, that badass motherfucker made out of bubblegum. As time went on, I stopped viewing myself as a being separate from the universe. Whoa! She no longer saw herself as separate. She was in unity, connected, one with the source, in Indra's net, which Alex Gray displays beautiful in his picture, The Net of Being. Sensations became interesting to watch, not motivating. I entered such a permanent state of utter peace and contentment that I stopped wanting anything at all. Oh my God, this happened to me, and it's one of the reasons why I stopped tripping so much, because all of your earthly needs are suspended because you are now this godly enlightened being, and I want to puke because it sounds so pretentious. Sensations became interesting to watch, not motivating. I entered such a permanent state of utter peace and contentment that I stopped wanting anything at all, and by the end of it, I barely got out of bed. I barely ate. I had stopped working out almost entirely and was living off slowly depleting savings. So, if you want to get the body of your dreams, otherworldly cut, start tripping, because you're going to stop living on food, you're going to start absorbing sunlight, you're going to be a sanitarian, and life will be fantastic because you're slowly going to cripple away into absolutely nothing as your emaciated body melts under the weight of gravity because you no longer have enough muscle mass to hold yourself up. This is exactly what happens when you trip way too much. You just stop eating. No, that's not what usually happens. This is a unique case of almost trip-induced depression, it seems like, disguised as peace. We're here to experience life in the day-to-day. The more you trip, the more you realize that everyday life is the trip. It's almost like tripping becomes waking up out of the dream, and then when you're not tripping, you're back in the dream. You're having the dream for a reason. It's up to you to find what that reason might be. Everyone likes vacations now and then, but we're in this state because we're in this state, and let's just make the best of it. Why would I work? Why would I do anything? I was not happy, not sad. I simply was. I feel like this might be a perversion of what just being is, because you can still just be and also be happy and also be sad. It's almost like people start to emphasize the state of not happy, not sad, just am, as if it's like this celestial way of being, this new enlightenment that most people can't touch. It's kind of like a way of spiritual elitism. Like, I'm above happy, I'm above sad, I just am, when it's actually bullshit. You realize when you move out of your pretentious bullspit ways that, like, again, part of this is the journey. We're here to explore the sadness, explore the happy. I think the problems arise when you put too much emphasis on only being happy and you run away from the sad, and that's when the drug habits start to get overwhelming because you're pushing away all these other emotions that are equally as important. All emotions are important. You feel them all. It's an array, and you experience it because that's what life is. I was free of desire. I did not fear death. Okay. You can definitely get to a state where you no longer fear death when you go through a bunch of ego deaths. Totally agree with that. I've been to this desireless state too, where you're like, what's the point? But again, it's kind of a twisted way of getting the message. There's a clearer resolution that can be attained when you update your frequency reader to being able to accept larger data pools. Maybe you've got to upgrade your RAM or hard drive to a bigger size so that you can see the bigger message. When you get to these states, I feel like you're just seeing a little piece, like seeing the tail of the cat without realizing it's the tail of a cat. You're like, oh, that's it. And you just see this little squiggly thing. But if you could zoom out, you'd see a whole cat. You'd be like, oh, I was so silly. That was the tail, not a snake. Alan Watts says it better than me. And 10 months in, I realized that what I was looking at was death. I would compulsively whisper, I am dead. I am dead. I am dead. If I say it enough times, it makes it true. Under my breath throughout the day, I was an empty vessel. And I realized that if I kept doing acid, I probably would die out of sheer apathy. Oh, the horror. I wasn't terribly worried, and now my accent has reached new heights of disturbing. But I had to make a decision. Did I want to continue down this path, knowing the end was oblivion, or did I want to close the doors and return to the world of the living? I choose the living, yes. I chose the latter, not due to any compulsion or survival instinct, at least not subjectively, but because I casually figured out living would be more interesting. Wow, we're defining things as interesting and not interesting, almost as if you're starting to see that there's fun and not fun. You're starting to assign values to emotions and things. I guess you're experiencing happy and sad, mother bitch. The journey back was almost as strange and as beautiful as the journey in. As my motivation slowly began returning, I found all I wanted was to forget. Totally agree. In fact, when I was in New Zealand, I was getting all these acid downloads. I felt like I had all this weight and pressure on me to share it with the world. And I remember being on my stairs, I probably was crying, being like, it's too much weight. I just one person. I can't share this all. Leave me alone. And I just wanted to forget all of it. Whereas before I was trying to immerse myself in the knowing, now I was constantly attempting to shut eyes that were permanently pried open. No, you can close them. Just cut the threads and they'll shut back. Trust me. No matter where I turned, the knowledge had been seared into my brain. Nah, amnesia's a thing, bro. It was like that feeling you get when you watch a movie and are suddenly aware that just out of the frame, there are camera crews. Are you serious? That's me every time I watch a movie. These are actors. What am I watching this shit for? I could do such better things with my lives than watch these actors get a paycheck. I mean, sometimes they put on good shows. It's just getting rarer and rarer now with the content. Everything's about content. Content these days. More content. Are you producing content? If you're not producing content, then you might as well kiss your own ass goodbye. Guess who I'm making fun of there? Terribly. My jokes are so bad, they're funny. I just wanted to pretend this was all real. Yep, doing acid all the time can definitely make the real feel not real. Like I said, you realize that you're in the trip in the sober life. I wanted to feel invested in myself. I wanted to feel upset, insecure, proud, happy, anxiety, anything. I wanted to stop knowing. Here is a poem I wrote during this time period, followed by this preface that says, lots of people have been making fun of this poem. I'm feeling insecure and want to take it down, but instead I am alleviating my worry about what you think of me with the disclaimer that it was personal and came from my journal, so don't have high expectations. I mean, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I had zero expectations. I'm sure it's beautiful to you, and that's all that matters. Who gives a shit what I or anybody thinks? It's your own art. Enjoy it. Do it for you, not for me or some other asshole. Before I chose life, I didn't mind the deep nothingness I had sunk into, but after the choice was made, it became not uncomfortable, but strange. I felt like I had abandoned an old lover, like this constant twinge of pain, like a splinter in my throat I couldn't dislodge. Ugh. I thought constantly about tripping again and being reunited. I did acid in my dreams. Over time, almost without realizing it, the eye slowly eased shut, like going to sleep. I started to find myself caught up in the moments of investment. I started to feel insecure again, annoyed, and I was shitting and amazing. Oh, and it was shitty and amazing. It's got like mine in the toilet. It took about another 10 months for me to return to roughly where I had been when I started. I'm mostly normal now with only a few remnants. Sometimes certain types of conversations will trigger it, where I'm sitting there and suddenly the eye of the universe has turned on me and I'm melting away. It is very intense. I don't mind, though. That's a fundamental part of the feeling, really, that I don't mind when it's happening. I feel like I've pulled the wool over my eyes. I've bought into this world. It is profoundly comforting in a way so subconscious it's difficult to identify. It's as though at all times behind my ears there is a powerful belief whispering, it's okay. It is okay. It's completely okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. I mean, that's what this is all about, bro. Being okay. When I get locked out of my apartment, when debt collectors call, when my mom tells me she found a lump in her breast, it's okay. I chose this. I am full. I am held. I am not afraid anymore. And when I am, it's because fear is interesting, because I have the privilege of feeling it. Pressure is a privilege. My underlying motivation now is to convey this awareness to others, or feel as though I have. It seems like the most important thing, the only important thing, and so here I am. Edit. If you want to read more details and analysis of my experience, go here. Maybe next time we'll go there. All right. My overview was that was a fantastic, beautiful read. What could they have done better? Nothing. Sounds like they got the message they were after. It sounds like they're using the lessons. The lesson being they realized that it's okay to feel and enjoy. And like I was saying while I was reading it, you know, all your emotions are okay, bro. They're here for you to uncover, to explore. Like that's what this whole journey is about. Exploration, learning, being true to yourself. Be the authentic you. Don't be fake. I'm over here acting like a gosh darn goofball because to me that's authentic. I'm having fun. It might look like I'm being a Oh, I almost said the R word. Like I'm being ridiculous, but no, I'm over here having fun because I'm doing it, man. I'm vibing with this flow of life. That's what you should too. And I thought that was a beautiful read. Ayla Girl. Yeah, Ayla Girl. Right on you, bro. You did good. That was beautifully written. Couldn't have picked a better thing. I think I know why it has 6,814. I'm drawing a blank on what that is. Test tubes. Let's give it one more. There we go. 6,815 upright test tubes. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button and please subscribe to the channel. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that when I make more absolutely crazy content like this, content, you will be notified. And hopefully you enjoy it. And if you really support me, you can head over to Patreon and buy my kooky ass a coffee. Anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed. Let me know below if you think I should continue this series. And yeah, till next time, cheers. I hope you learned something, and I hope you guys all are on this boat with me enjoying life. All right.